think you can change the country? You should look to her generation. They're taking to the streets.
Protests are important, but changing the culture means nothing if the law doesn't change.
What did you say your name was?
Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Can you talk about landing the film's big cameo? Did you have to pull any strings?
Did I pull any strings? Actually, in credit where it's due, it was Mimi's idea. In the first, about I think a week into production, she called me up and she said, I have this idea. Do you think your aunt would do it? And so I said, well, I think she would enjoy it. Let me find out. And I gave her a call, and she had to check with the court because there's all these ethics rules and everything. And she said, yeah, let's do it. And I said to Mimi, okay, but here's the thing. If you shoot it, you better put it in the movie because I don't want to be the one who has to call Aunt Ruth and tell her you cut her out of her own life story.
My coworker who I saw the movie with was like, how was she able to do the movie? You know, like he was surprised, like ethically she could do it, but I'm sure she would know.
Well, in the same sense that she could be in the documentary.
Yeah, that makes sense. When you started writing the movie, did you run the idea by her? Did you say, do you mind if I include this? Do you mind if I make, this and that?
The answer to the first part is yes. So I called her up and I said, I have this idea. I'd like your permission. I would love your help. And she said her first reaction was, why that case? She's like, I argued bigger cases, Supreme Court cases, more landmark cases. And I said, yeah, but this is the only one you ever argued with Uncle Martin. And that's really what the movie's about. It's about a marriage. It's the two of you fighting in court for it. You also figured out how to live at home, that real equality. And she said, well, if that's how you think you want to spend your time. And so I went down, but it wasn't like a can I include this, can I not include this? She had certain requests. She wanted the law to be right. She wanted the way the law is practiced to be right. And she wanted Uncle Martin to be right. And the other thing she said, which I think is a real credit to her and her lack of ego, she said, I just don't want anyone to think that I created this area of the law. People should know that I built my career, my ideas on women who came before me, like Dorothy Kenyon and like Pauli Murray.
Okay, so I went to this big craft fair, holiday craft fair yesterday. Tons of RBG stuff, everywhere.
It's a little weird, right?
I was gonna say, are you surprised by that? Are you surprised it's such a thing?
I'm shocked by it because she's my aunt. I mean, it's funny because now there's a lot of people for whom she's this real superhero, and even before that, there were a lot of people for whom she was this divisive figure. But for me, she's always just been Aunt Ruth. And so, that's, I think, the Ruth that we captured on screen is the Ruth who is it doesn't have any superpowers. She's a person with a family that supports her and struggles and figures out how to become the woman who is the woman so many people idealize now.
Yeah, she didn't just pop up on the Supreme Court. She has children, she has a career, she had a mom and.
And had to fight to get all those things.
How well versed in the legal system were you before you started making this movie?
Not at all, other than through osmosis of my family. I had a lot of learning to do. And then I had to figure out how the legal system works and the laws, and then how to articulate that in a way that for an audience it was going to be entertaining and clear by the time you get to the end of the movie, so it's not just this tedious fest of explaining the law.
But also, I guess supposed to take care to not make it too sensationalist. I object. You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Well, that Ruth never would have allowed me to do because she would read drafts and she would say, this is not the way the law is practiced. At one point, I had this in an early draft, this big scene where she goes down to D.C. to do some kind of research, and she was like, I would go to a law library. Stop. And so she always made sure I was reining myself back into getting how it's really done.
How do you make legal procedures or legal proceedings interesting to viewers?
If it was that easy, if I could just tell you in one sentence. The key was in my movies, screenplays are all about setups and payoffs, and ideally not all the setups it's clear how they're going to pay off or even that they are setups, but it's about weaving in just the right amount of information a little bit at a time so that by the time you get to the end, all that cumulative knowledge, you feel like it's yours and not something the movie fed you.
And why was it important to you, I guess, to make this movie as much a love story as it is sort of about her life and the importance of gender politics and stuff?
The love story is why I wrote the movie. I mean, my wife and I were so lucky when we got married to have Ruth and Martin Ginsburg as our role models for what a marriage can look like. And I knew that I was in this privileged position to be able to share those role models with hopefully a lot more people.
Tell us something about their marriage that I guess didn't make the movie. Or about Martin,
I mean, I think I'm very proud of the fact that the movie does a really good job of showing you their marriage. I think probably Martin used to poke fun at Ruth a lot more than is probably clear in the movie, and she would always respond by elbowing him in the ribs.
The word woman does not appear even once in the U.S. Constitution.
Nor does the word freedom, Your Honor.
Here comes the change.